When a real estate syndication sells a property, the proceeds don't just get split equally between LPs and the GP. The money flows through a structured sequence, called the distribution waterfall, that determines who gets paid first, at what rate, and in what order. If you've ever looked at a deal and seen terms like 70/30ths above an 8% pref or 10% catch-up or equity kicker, this video is going to make all of that make sense. I'm going to walk through every tier of a standard waterfall, show you how each one works with real numbers, and then show you how to model what you'd actually receive at exit across different return scenarios. First, what is a waterfall? The distribution waterfall is the operating agreement's instruction manual for allocating money. Every dollar of profit flows through a series of sequential tiers. Each tier has a rule, and once that rule is satisfied, the remaining money flows to the next tier. The structure ensures LPs are protected first. The GP earns more as the deal performs better. Done well, a waterfall aligns incentives. The GP wins when LPs win. Most standard syndication waterfalls have 4 tiers. Tier 1, Return of Capital. Before any return on capital is distributed, LPs receive their original invested capital back. If you put in $100,000, you get $100,000 back in Tier 1. This tier is non-negotiable. No reputable GP takes a profit share before returning LP principal. The exception, some waterfalls combine Tier 1 and Tier 2, returning capital and preferred return simultaneously. This is common and acceptable as long as it's clearly structured. Tier 2, the preferred return. After capital is returned, or simultaneously with it, LPs receive their accrued preferred return. If the preferred return is 8% cumulative and the hold was 5 years, the accrued pref is 40% of invested capital, assuming it wasn't distributed along the way as cash flow. More commonly, preferred return is distributed during the hold as cash flow distributions. At exit, LPs receive any remaining accrued and unpaid pref. By the end of Tier 2, LPs have received their capital back plus a minimum annual return. The GP has received only their fees. Not yet a dollar of the promote. Tier 3, the GP catch-up, when present. Some waterfalls include a catch-up tier. After LPs have received their preferred return, the next dollars go entirely or primarily to the GP, until the GP has caught up to their target percentage of total profits. Example, an 8% pref with a 70/30th split and a 100% GP catch-up. In Tier 3, all profits go to the GP until the GP has received 30% of what LPs received in their preferred return, then both parties share in Tier 4. Not all deals have a catch-up. When present, it's GP favorable and worth understanding clearly. Some deals instead use a partial catch-up, for example, 50/50 in the catch-up tier. The mechanics vary, the operating agreement is the source of truth. Tier 4, the split above the preferred return, the promote. This is the main profit-sharing tier. After tiers 1 through 3, remaining profits are split between LPs and the GP at an agreed ratio, commonly 70/30ths, sometimes 80/20, occasionally 75/25ths. This is where the GP earns their carried interest, the promote, for having sourced the deal, managed execution, and created value. The 30%, or 20%, of profits above the pref is the GP's participation in the upside they helped create. A 70/30th split means LPs keep 70 cents of every dollar above the pref. A 80/20 split is more LP favorable. Some deals use tiered splits, 70/30ths up to a 15% IRR, then 60/40ths above it, rewarding the GP for exceptional performance. Let me walk through a full worked example with real numbers. Setup, you invest $50,000. The deal runs for 5 years. 8% cumulative preferred return. 70/30th split above the pref. No catch-up. Scenario A, base case. The property sells for a total distribution of $100,000 to LPs, a 2.0x equity multiple before pref. Tier 1, return of capital. You receive $50,000. Remaining, 50,000. Tier 2, preferred return. 8% per year, 5 years, on 50,000, 20,000 total accrued pref. But assume the deal distributed 10,000 in cash flow during the hold. Remaining pref, 10,000. You receive 10,000. Remaining, 40,000. Tier 3, no catch-up in this deal. Skip. Tier 4, the split. 40,000 remaining. 70/30th split. You receive 28,000. GP receives 12,000. Your total proceeds, 50,000, capital, plus 10,000, in-hold distributions, plus 10,000, remaining pref, plus 28,000, promote tier, equals 98,000. Return on 50,000 invested over 5 years, roughly 95% total, about 14.3% IRR, 1.96x equity multiple. Scenario B, underperformance. Total exit distribution to LPs is 65,000. Tier 1, return of capital. 50,000. Remaining, 15,000. Tier 2, preferred return. 20,000 accrued, 10,000 paid during hold, 10,000 remaining. But only 15,000 is left. You receive 15,000 toward pref. 5,000 of your pref remains unpaid. If cumulative, the GP owes this from any future activity. In a typical liquidation, you'd receive 50,000 in capital plus 15,000 in partial pref. Total, 65,000. GP receives 0 promote. The GP earned their fees, but not $1 of profit share. This is the preferred return working as designed. LP capital and priority return is protected before any GP profit participation. In underperformance, the pref structure determines your recovery. Scenario C, strong performance. Total exit distribution to LPs is 200,000. Tier 1, capital. 50,000. Remaining, 150,000. Tier 2, remaining pref. 10,000. Remaining, 140,000. Tier 4, split. 70/30ths. You receive 98,000. GP receives 42,000. Your total, 50,000 plus 10,000 plus 98,000 plus 10,000 in-hold distributions equals 168,000. On 50,000 invested, 3.36x equity multiple, roughly 27% IRR. GP total, fees throughout the hold, plus 42,000 promote. This is the waterfall working correctly. Strong performance created real value. LPs captured 70% of the upside above the pref. The GP earned meaningful carried interest for executing. Now let me address hurdle rates and tiered waterfalls. Some deals use multiple hurdle rates, promoting different split ratios at different return thresholds. Example, 80/20th split up to a 15% IRR. Above 15% IRR, 70/30th split. Above 20% IRR, 60/40ths. This structure rewards exceptional performance with higher GP participation. For LPs, you keep more at moderate returns, and share more at exceptional returns, where the deal truly outperformed. When evaluating a tiered waterfall, model your returns at each hurdle. If the deal is projecting a 15% IRR, what does your actual cash-on-cash look like at 12%? At 18%? Understand the shape of your return curve at different performance levels. Here are the questions to ask about any waterfall before you invest. 1. What are the exact tiers in the waterfall? Ask for the operating agreement section and have it explained verbally. 2. Is there a catch-up provision? If yes, what percentage and on what basis? 3. Is the preferred return cumulative or non-cumulative? If distributions fall short in a given period, what happens? 4. What is the split above the pref? Is it a single split or tiered? 5. At base case projected returns, what is my equity multiple and what is the GP's total compensation, fees plus promote? 6. At downside scenario, say 20% below projections, what do LPs receive? Does the GP earn any promote? These questions require the GP to do math with you. Any GP who can't answer questions 5 and 6 clearly, about their own deal, deserves more scrutiny. Here's the summary. The distribution waterfall determines how every dollar flows at exit, return of capital first, then preferred return, then optional catch-up, then profit split above the pref. Model 3 scenarios before you invest: base case, underperformance, and strong performance. Know your equity multiple and IRR at each. The catch-up tier and tiered split ratios are GP favorable mechanics worth understanding before you sign. A waterfall that aligns GP and LP incentives, where the GP earns meaningfully only when LPs earn well first, is the foundation of a trustworthy deal structure. The LP due diligence checklist has a full waterfall modeling section with examples, linked in the description. Subscribe for the next one. We're going to cover the deal sponsor versus the operating partner, what each role does, and how to evaluate deals where those two functions are held by different people. Thanks.